The Stranger Things Season 5 teaser has just aired on TV for the very first time at the Emmys, and with it, they announced a first for Stranger Things. This is the official TV rating now classifying the show for mature audiences, which is really interesting because never before has a season of Stranger Things been met with such a mature rating. Up until now, each season has gotten the TV 14 rating, which is closer to a PG-13 movie than one that's rated R. And that's not to say that Stranger Things isn't violent, graphic, or gory. Season 3 and 4 especially had a lot of intense moments that I want to take a look at just to see how far they push the TV 14 rating and why the final season will be even worse. What does this rating mean for Season 5 of Stranger Things, and what's going to be different from every other season prior? I want to take a quick look into this and see what this means for the show, because TV ratings are different than movie ratings. Since there's only so many new movies that release each day, a board of people can actually sit down, watch these, and give it a rating. But TV shows are much more content. Even back when TV ratings first came out back in the late 90s, there was more than 2,000 hours of TV shows coming out every single day. That is physically impossible for a small group of people to consume and agree on a rating, so they put it on the television networks to voluntarily rate their shows based on a universal rating system. And the ratings were categorized by the type of adult themes and how often you see them in the show. So Netflix themselves are the ones rating each season of Stranger Things individually, based on these determining factors. If you go to Netflix.com, you can see that a TV 14 rated show might have these elements in it: disturbing images, fear, gore, language, and smoking. And if you go to each individual season, you will see that Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3 all were rated to have fear, gore, language, and smoking. The only thing it says they didn't have is disturbing imagery, which I guess makes sense. The worst thing in Season 1 was probably the elements of blood or dead corpses with upside down growth all over them, but it wasn't enough to get the disturbing imagery rating. In Season 2, it was a little more traumatic with the Mind Flayer possessing Will and the exorcism, but that should be fine for a TV 14 rating. Season 3 though is where it really ramped up, and we saw people get turned into sludge, and all their sludge came together and formed this monster. This very intense, scary looking monster made from the humans around town. And while this was way more intense and graphic, it still seemingly only landed the show a TV 14 rating. But Season 4 pushed the violence and scary themes way further, being the first season to actually get the rating for disturbing images. This undoubtedly coming from all of the Vecna kills. Seeing kids have their bones being broken and their eyes being gouged out was notably more disturbing than the last 3 seasons combined, but apparently it still wasn't enough to land the season an MA rating for mature audiences. This is closer to the equivalent of an R-rated movie, and somehow with all of this violence, even seeing Jason getting ripped in half, or the massacre of children in Hawkins' lab, or even taking a look at the Demogorgon carnage in Russia, there's people that get shot and people that get blown up in a crashing helicopter. They went so above and beyond constantly that looking back at it all, I'm really surprised that each of these episodes was still only given the TV 14 rating. But let's take a look and see what it would have taken to actually land Season 5 this MA rating. Netflix says that things rated for mature audiences may include gore, language, nudity, actual smoking, self-harm, and violence, which is a lot more than TV 14. The gap is large, but I mean, if you look at all of these, last season had 4 of these things, and fairly constant throughout. The biggest difference is the risque content, but I don't think there will be any more of that in Season 5 than there was in the rest of the show. I think Season 5 landing this mature audience rating is directly in relation to the gore and then violence. I don't think the language is going to go to Rick and Morty levels where every other word is an F-bomb. They cuss in the show, but I think there's only 2 current F-bombs. One when Will is tearing down Castle Byers, it's hard to hear but it sounds like he says it here, and then one when Billy gets possessed by Vecna and is trapped in the sauna. He says he's going to effing gut them. So while they could sprinkle in another F-bomb or 2, they already had those here and there, and I don't think it'd be super on brand to fill the last season with tons of these. No, I think the amount and frequency of gore and violence and possibly disturbing images will be much higher. The Duffer Brothers have been telling us that this will be the darkest season yet, and with all the kids maturing into young adults, along with the actual viewers of the show itself being fully grown up by this point, and with it being the finale season, it only makes sense that things will be ramped up more than they've ever been before. And with all the seasons before, there's always a lot of fun and happy moments, and adventures and lighthearted moments before the intensity happens. And while I'm sure there still will be some good happy moments of relief and jokes, I'm sure they've also said that this season will be the first time that they don't mess around in the beginning. There's not going to be 40 minutes in the first episode of D&D games or basketball games or going to the mall or hanging out relaxing. This season is starting at 100 miles an hour. This is going to pick up with all the kids already in motion, pursuing a specific goal of trying to locate and kill Vecna. I mean, Season 4 was Avengers Endgame, and Season 5 is Infinity War. For the first time, they ended the last season with the bad guy winning. We saw Vecna succeed in opening the Mega Rift through the middle of town. Max is in a coma, and Eddie is dead. And now the kids just can't wait around and try to forget about him. Ever since the ending, the kids have been scheming, recharging, and planning how to find and defeat Vecna, so as soon as Season 5 starts, they will already be a full year into trying to find him. While this season will still be fun and happy, I'm sure, there will be definitely less of it and way more action nonstop. It feels like just from the teaser alone, they'll be in a constant state of fighting and running. And when they do show the violence, I'm sure they're going to try to push the boundaries even further with more scary themes, more blood and gore, but also on a larger scale. From what we know about Season 5 already, it seems like there will be a new monster, lots more Demogorgons, think Season 2 in the tunnels, but even bigger. I mean, ever since Vecna opened the rift and got Nancy'd out of the window, he's been recovering, getting stronger, and building as large of an army of Demogorgons as he can to invade Hawkins with. So that when it's time, possibly Season 5's Volume 1 finale, and he walks through that portal, it's going to be a bloodbath. So many army soldiers against so many Demogorgons, and I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome. But I wonder if the majority of the MA-rated violence will be Demogorgon carnage, or if it's also because of Vecna. It seems like he's got an entirely new look this season, much more slimmed down and aggressive looking with possibly some upgraded powers. I wonder now that he's opened the portal if we'll actually see him do what he was doing last season to everybody, the possession, bones cracking, eyes sucking signature move, because the rating went up, so most likely will his violence as well. I really hope our main cast will be safe. I mean, we already saw Nancy crying, wiping a lot of blood off of her hands, maybe in the hospital, and I'm really hoping it's not her mom's blood, but she's crying hard enough where it could be. I mean, this rating could also be for how much close-up blood we might see from main characters dying off or trying to help others that died. But I mean, Season 2 Bob was pretty gruesome, and that was only TV-14, and honestly, so was Eddie. There's also going to be a lot of child kidnappings with Vecna coming after all the children of Hawkins and Holly. I think it's the violence that got their MA rating. Each season, they tend to outdo themselves by introducing these really large creative ways to go after and kill off their next targets. They do it on purpose to make us squeamish and try to get us to feel things by watching it, and it works. But this means whatever they have cooked up for Season 5, which Volume 1 is completely finished being edited and ready to watch right now. Whatever they have, it's so much worse that Netflix gave them a more mature rating. I mean, you can always take it with a grain of salt. Since TV show ratings are different than movies, it's much harder to rely on them since they're given out by individual networks rather than the same group of people rating all the movies. And at the end of the day, these themes are somewhat subjective. How violent is this scene in this show compared to the rating system and all the other shows in the past that we've rated being this bad? You could take a look at something like Hannibal, a crime drama that only received a TV-14 rating. But this was an incredibly violent and gruesome show. It had so much that it deserved a mature audience rating so badly, and somehow the network thought 14-year-old kids could watch this show. I don't want to go into detail about how gory it was, but lots of gruesome murder, disturbing imagery, excessive blood, and slight nudity. A TV-14 rating is insane for this show. But on the other hand, you have the show Baskets, which is about a man who wants to become a professional clown. This might be one of the tamest shows that ever got the mature audience rating. Violence is almost non-existent. The adult risque themes are mild at best, a couple jokes and innuendos, but that's it. There's smoking, and then they use cuss words a little often. So while the mature rating does usually indicate more of an adult show, there's also times where they miss the mark. Although this is typically a show-by-show basis, not season-by-season. So while you could take it with a grain of salt, I think Stranger Things Season 5's M rating means that this will most definitely be more intense and frequent, specifically with the violence and possibly blood than all the other seasons prior. Personally, I hope with this new rating, with it being the finale of such a massive show, I really hope they just don't hold anything back. With this new MA rating, I hope they get to go all out as hard as they can with scary elements, intense action sequences, Demogorgon massacres, Vecna violence. I want to see the biggest finale showdown between between Vecna and all of his monsters, the Demogorgons, Demobats, the Mind Flayer, and hopefully a new monster, versus all of the military soldiers, and Eleven, and all the other kids, and Hopper, and hopefully Will, and possibly some new powers. Tell me in the comments what you think about the new rating, because this is going to be such a crazy finale. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss big upcoming videos as we get into marketing season and they start releasing more trailers. I'll see you guys soon for a big video I've been working on. Peace.